Welcome to the Ho-Ho Show.
Rated the #1 most listened to podcast on Pluto. So join us now as we discuss news, politics, current events, and so much more. So clear the airwaves and strap in as we
defend the Constitution because freedom matters.
We're broadcasting live from the Kida Studio, so welcome to the Ho-Ho Show, and as always, I am your host, Ho-Ho. How y'all's doing? I hope you guys are doing good. I really do. It's been a hot minute since I've done a show. It's been almost 2 weeks. So yeah, but there's a lot going on. We got a lot to talk about. We're going to be talking a little bit about the Arizona audit. We're going to be talking about the global shortage going on. We're going to be talking about a little bit about the COVID-19 and some of the things you need to know about the vaccine and stuff. We're going to be talking a little bit about the Facebook 7-hour shutdown, and we're going to be talking about the debt ceiling and how that is definitely not within the best interests of Americans and what it is they're actually talking about. But first, before we get into all that, we're going to start off with this. Now, this headline from Fox News. Gotta love Fox News. This headline says, as soon as I get it up, there we go. Kamala Harris skips U.S.-Mexico border security meeting and goes to New Jersey instead. Yeah, our very own, czar, our very own Kamala Harris, the one who seems to want absolutely nothing to do with the border. She hasn't even, she's been down to Texas, but she's really not gotten all that close to the border. She really hasn't. And that's kind of a shame considering, she's the one that was put in charge of this by the Biden administration. It's just great leadership potential right there. I mean, it really is, and some of the things they put in here, I mean, it really did, kind of crack me up. But oh, where's some of that stuff at in here? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But, I'm sure you guys remember the, with all the Haitians that are coming, or, that were coming up and all of that good crap, and how how a lot of people had no idea, or they claimed that they had no idea what was going on. And this huge surprise about everything. They were like, oh, well, we didn't know what was going on. And of course, the logical response was, of course you guys knew what was going on. Of course you knew what was going on. So this headline from the Daily Wire, Panama's foreign minister said, we warned Biden about the Haitian migrant crisis, and 60,000 more are coming. It's like, holy crap. And this whole entire thing comes from the Biden administration just not wanting to do anything about securing the border. They made it pretty clear early off that if you come up here, we're not going to ship you back home. And for the most part, they haven't. I mean, they've done a little bit. They've deported some people just so they can, save face, just because of the political backlash that's been going on from it. And that's the only reason why. Because of the horrible conditions that they were living in down there. I mean, do you guys remember that, the FCC, no, the FC, no, FAC, who's the people that are in charge of flying it's not the FCC, it's not the FDA. You know what 3-letter alphabet soup is it? I don't remember. But them guys, and this is what cracks me up about this. Actually, it doesn't crack me up. That's the wrong terminology to use. It doesn't crack me up. It's absolutely sad and it's absolutely pathetic. But instead of wanting to fix the problem, instead of actually wanting to do something that would be meaningful in all this, instead they're worried about the optics. So instead of, changing the narrative and tell people, look, bad things are happening on the trek up here. We don't want these things to happen to you. So stop coming. If anything, do what was going on during Trump's administration. Go to an embassy down there, apply for amnesty, or not amnesty, but, apply for refugee status and go about it the right and legal way. Instead of just coming up here claiming one thing or another whenever all these guys are doing, considering not all of them are actually coming from Haiti. There's ones coming from all over the place down in South America. It's not just Haiti. They're coming from a few other places as well, places that they've already migrated to, and they're just trading up. That's what they're doing. They're trading up. Now, this article actually came out on September 30th of 2021, but let me go ahead and read just a little bit of this article. The article says, Panama Foreign Minister Erica Mouynes, Mouynes, said during an interview this week that she warned the Biden administration about the Haitian migrant crisis that was headed to the U.S.-Mexico border, saying that Panama sounded the alarm when we should have. In other words, they let us know. It's like, hey, there's a butt ton of immigrants coming your way. You guys might want to prepare for it. You might want to shut down. You might want to lock down. You might want to beef up security. You might want to beef up your guards on the border. You might want to do something about this because you've got a lot of people coming. She continued to say that there are as many as 60,000 migrants, mostly Haitian, poised to make their way north to the U.S.-Mexico border. And this is a report from Axios. Panama is expecting more migrants to cross through the dangerous jungles of the Darien Gap this month than in all of 2019, nearly 27,000. Did you hear that number, guys? 27,000. Holy crap. That's a lot of people. But again, this isn't a surprise. This isn't something that we didn't have forewarning about as she, told reporters. No, they knew about this, but they failed to act. They failed to do their job. Instead, they worry about 10 million things that's not even in the purview of the federal government. But yet, one of the things that is specific that the federal government is supposed to take care of, guard and protect the border, they can't even do that. The one thing, and then we're surprised that they have a hard time doing the things that they're not even equipped to handle in the first place. Like education. Oh, gee. It's not even in the purview of the federal government as per the Constitution, that it's not their job to worry about that. And they do a poor job doing it. And one thing that they're actually supposed to be doing, guarding the border, they can't do that effectively. They don't know how. Or they don't want to. And isn't that really what it boils down to? They don't want to. Instead, they would much rather bring in a group of people that are going to be so poised and grateful and thankful for their immigration status being just put in the front of the line of everything, that they're going to do whatever it is that the Democrat Party, the ones who gave them the amnesty, is telling them to do. Vote Democrat. All they're looking at these people as is a potential voting block. That's it. And if they didn't think that they were going to vote Democrat, if they thought that they were actually going to vote Republican, there ain't no way in hell they'd be letting them up here. No way they would do that. What, you don't believe me? Well, gee, let me think about this for a minute. The Haitian migrants. Yep, they let them in. Borders wide open. Don't worry about it. Just come on up. Come on up. It doesn't matter. Mexicans. Oh, it's all right. Just come on up. It's okay. It's okay. Just come on up. Borders wide open. It doesn't matter. Cubans come up. Those who are actually living in communist conditions that have a problem with an overpowering government, those that don't want anything to do with the bounds of communism and socialism, that the ones who are actually more poised to vote on the Republican side of things, because the party, and yes, I'm using my quotation marks, in general, believe in lower taxes, more restrictions on the federal government, a smaller federal government, and more personal freedom. And with that personal freedom comes personal responsibility. But you don't hear a lot of that being talked about. But people whom would actually be more likely to vote Republican, they turn them away. Don't come up here. You will be turned back. But what happens if you're coming from Mexico? What happens if you're coming from Haiti? Oh, borders wide open. So they don't care about the immigrant. They only care Hello, dumbing it down with Dave over there in YouTube. He said this isn't playing on Spreaker. That is not good. It looks like it is. That's not good. Let me look at things right quick, and I greatly appreciate you letting me know. And welcome, by the way. Glad to see you over there. Pulling up my phones. Let's see here. This is. Of course. I love ads. I really do. Let's just kind of wait for this thing to play out a second. Yep. That's a going. All right, here we go. Oh, of course. Well. I love ads. I really do. All right. Well, it's playing on my phone. I don't know what the deal is on that. Oh, of course, you don't want to shut off now. There we go. All right. Don't know what the deal. And like everything on Spreaker is looking fine. I don't know what the problem is there, Dave. I apologize about that. Everything's looking fine. It was playing on my phone, so I'm not exactly sure what the issue is. I really don't. I'll look into it. But I'm not seeing anything weird going on the Spreaker. Oh, hey, I see that there's chat over here. Holy crap, I missed that one too. Oh, okay. He said on now, it's okay. All right. Very, very good. Very, very good. All right. Yep. Okay, good. That's all right, Dave. I appreciate the heads up. I really do. Don't even worry about it. I'm glad it's I'm glad everything's working out over there for you. So that's awesome. All right, guys. So let's go ahead and get back into this. So yeah, the border crisis, they knew what was going on from the get-go, but the point is they chose not to do anything at all. They chose to just let them come up here. And yes, they have deported some, but in the grand scheme of things, with all of them that actually came up, and I'm talking specifically the Haitian immigrants, they chose to do nothing. And, when they were confronted with the optics, the bad optics, instead of trying to do something about it, one, they did actually, they started shipping him elsewhere. They started putting him on buses in the middle of the night. But not only that, they told Fox News that we are no longer going to allow you to fly drones over this area, over the Rio Grande de Janeiro, that bridge, because they were underneath that bridge for quite some time. They were like, we're no longer going to let you fly drones over there. And they claimed some BS that, this is in the flight plan or the flight path of the airport that's around. And in which case, no, it's not. It was Bravo Sierra. They had never had a problem up until that point when the optics looked bad because of the footage that was coming in, and they didn't want to be called out on what it is that they were doing. They didn't want the American people to see just how bad things were, because Fox News was actually doing something about it and reporting the news instead of just being all hush-hush about it, trying to make, the Biden administration and Kamala Harris look better. They wasn't playing their game, and so just like what the Democrats like to do, they used a a function of the executive branch to strong arm people into doing their bidding. They weaponized, for political gain, the whatever them people are, the federal pilot people, the FPP. That's what they did. They weaponized the FPP, the federal pilot people, federal plane people. When you can't think of the proper thing, you just make something up that sounds good. So that's what I'm doing. The FPP. Yeah, you know me. There was a time I was, driving up in Canada, and the police up there is called the OPP, the Ontario Provincial Police. And I told my boss one time, I'm like, I really do hope I never, FAA, thank you, Dave, the FAA. You got my back. I appreciate that. But I told my boss, I'm like, I really do hope I never get pulled over up in Canada from an actual OPP, police officer, because I'm probably going to go to jail. Because if they don't have, if they don't have a sense of humor or anything like mine, then I'm probably getting arrested. Because I know that, because I have a mouth, and the older I get, the less of a filter there is. My brain's like, you probably shouldn't say that. My mouth's like, but it'll be fun. And before my brain has an opportunity to shut my mouth down and say no, next thing you know, something stupid slides out of my mouth. And it's like, oh, crap. I probably shouldn't have said that. It happens. It's happened before, and I'm sure it'll happen again. But I know that if I would have gotten pulled over by OPP, I would have been like, hey, OPP, are you down with OPP? I know that would have come out of my mouth. And if they didn't have a sense of humor, I'd have been getting arrested. That's all right. I just used the company card for bail myself out and hope for the best. Yeah, I would have. All right, guys, so we're going to move on. You don't need to know about my stupidity. Yeah, FAA, I appreciate that, Dave. The FAA, that was one of them, 3-letter acronym names that I couldn't remember. Federal Aviation Administration, if I'm not mistaken, that's what that stands for, but I'm not completely sure. And it doesn't matter. But that's what the FAA did. Or at least that's what the Biden administration did, because the optics looked bad on what was going on down at the border. And instead of fixing the problem, instead of enforcing our immigration laws, because that's really what it amounts to, isn't it? It's the immigration laws. It's the things. Oh, you know what, Dave? That's actually a pretty good question. He puts in here, he goes, can you bail yourself out with a credit card in Canada? I have no idea. I hope so. At least at the time, I hope so, but I'm really not sure. I know, actually, I don't even know if you can do that down in the States with the credit card. I don't know on that one. I'm pretty sure you can with a debit card. Maybe. Or maybe they'll escort you to an ATM and you can pull money out. I don't know. I really have no idea now. I don't know. That's a good question now. For the sake of my sanity, I would really not want to have my boss come up and bail me out of jail and be like, hey, don't ever do that again. For all I know, he may make me rot up in there until I go to court and stand in front of a judge. That'd be entertaining. Pay my fine. I'm sure you can pay your fine with credit card, maybe, but at the same time, you'd probably have to go to an ATM if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, moving on. The side conversations we get into, quite entertaining, let me tell you what. I don't even know where I was at with this. Oh, yeah, that's where I was at. Instead of them actually doing their job, protecting the border, enforcing the rule of law, because isn't that what the job of the executive branch really is? Execute the law, Dave put in here, he goes, just assume that they, the OPP, don't have a sense of humor. And they probably don't. I was driving a buddy of mine's car. He has an updated model of the same kind of car that I got, a Ford Fusion. A newer model, not updated, but he's got a newer model of the car that I had, and he got this before I got my car. So his chicken came before my egg. what? Yeah, anyway. So I was test driving that, and he had like halos on his headlights, you know, and technically in green at that, you know, green halos on his headlights. And, well, you know, technically speaking, that's illegal. They consider that to be a distraction to other motorists, which is ridiculous. I had a buddy of mine even, like, you know, confront the cop on that. He's like, this is, you know, cop said this is illegal. And it's like, why? Well, it's a distraction to other drivers. I'm like, you know, and my buddy was like, really? He's like, yeah. He's like, well, if you see a Lamborghini driving down the road, are you going to look at it or are you going to continue driving? He's like, oh, I'm probably going to look at it. He goes, well, that's a distraction to drivers. Is that illegal? No, it is not. So why is this illegal? Anyway, he had the halos, green halos on his car. And I was driving. I got to a block away from where I was dropping the kid off at. All right. And I had the owner of the car, my buddy, he was in the passenger seat, and I had like 3 or 4 people in the back seat. I get pulled over, and me, I'm an idiot. I'm just going to throw that out there. I'm kind of a moron, you know. So he pulls me over, you know, the whole whoop, whoop, you know, and I stop. I'm sitting there. I got, you know, and I got the, I don't remember if I actually turned the vehicle off. I think I did, because that's just kind of how you do things, you know. Turn off the vehicle, turn on the dome light, put your hands at 10 and 2 and just wait for them to come up. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, you know, a song comes in my head. Bad boys, what you gonna do? You know, and I'm singing off key. Of course I am, because for me it's fun. And apparently the people in the back seats noticed that the cop was outside, you know, like right there at the back bumper by the trunk, just listening to me while I'm singing, and I'm like looking in the mirror, and I don't see him coming up until I see, you know, flashlight, and then immediately I stop, you know, because I figured he probably doesn't have that good of a sense of humor. And they told me after the fact, like, yeah, he was standing there for a while, and I'm like, why didn't you say something? It's like, we were listening to you sing. I'm like, come on, man, you know. And the cop tells me, he's like, you know why I pulled you over? I'm like, nope, I've played this game before. I have absolutely no idea, officer. He goes, well, you're not. Did you know it's illegal to have, you know, green halos over your lights? And I held up my finger to the cop, you know, not the bad finger, but I held up the, you know, un momento por favor finger. And I look over at my buddy who owns the car, and I'm like, hey, did you know that it's actually illegal to have them green halos around your headlights? And the cop goes, oh, this is his car. I go, well, yeah, it's his car. You know, it's like, this isn't my car. You know, I mean, I'm just kind of test driving. He's like, you thinking about buying it? I'm like, well, not now. It's a stinking target for cops to pull you over. I don't want to buy it now. It just, there's just some things you probably shouldn't say to cops. I'm just saying. I mean, okay, guys, don't get me wrong. All right, I got all the love and respect for cops. I really do. They got a hard job, you know. And I give cops respect, I really do, but that's not to say I'm not going to mess with them a little bit just because that's who I am. You know, all the love and respect, you know, that's why I shut the vehicle off. That's why I have my dome lights on. That's why my hands are at 10 and 2 whenever they're coming up to the vehicle. I do that so that they can see what's going on inside and they don't have to worry about me or what I'm doing. They don't have to worry about me driving off. That's why I do that. That's out of love and respect. Because I respect what they do. I know it's a hard job. But I'm still going to give you a hard time. Don't get me wrong. You know, I'm still giving you some you know, I'm still going to be picking on you. You know, I got a sense of humor, and I'm still going to be using it. But anyway, we're going to move on. I'm ornery. Let's just put it that way. I am ornery. So with these migrants coming up, you know, the executive branch, their job, you know, according to the Constitution, you know, their job is to faithfully execute the laws and make sure that these things are being done properly. That's what the executive branch's job is. So whenever you have, you know, what went on in the Obama administration, what's going on in the Biden administration. They walked in, and the very first thing that they did was to say, no, we are not going to faithfully execute the laws as is our job according to the Constitution. That's what they said. What? And you're going to say that it's okay that these guys continue to, you know, do what it is that they do. Continue to fund, the FAA, all these other alphabet soup people that don't do anything more than just work as a political arm, a political branch. They do nothing more than politically target, and not just, one president working to, working against the opposing party, because let's remember, guys, this is about the deep state. The deep state is primarily Democrat, obviously, because what happened during President Trump's administration? Oh, the deep state tried so freaking hard to get him out of office, and they couldn't find anything that they could actually get him on. They tried for years to get him out, and their attacks against President Trump started before he was even candidate Trump, and it certainly started before he was even President Trump. But that's what they do. They attack people politically to make the Democrats look better. That's what they do. I seen this headline, and I tell you what, I love this one. I really did. This was an awesome headline. See if I hit the right button this time. There we go. All right. Headline from Newsmax. Tesla moving to Texas because California lawmaker tweeted F Elon Musk. Yeah, I don't even know who, I don't even know who said it. I have absolutely no idea. What California lawmaker said it or tweeted it, I guess would be the better response for that. I have no idea. And it doesn't matter. But time and time again, I'm hearing about different companies leaving predominantly blue states to go into red states. That's what I'm hearing. They're leaving the high taxes, the high regulations of places like California. What's one of the other ones that I seen not that long ago? And I don't even remember what company that was. Oh, what company was that? You got Tesla moving, going to, I just said, well, he's going to Texas, leaving California. And there was another one. I didn't bring this one up, and maybe I should have. I'm sure I should have. But I'm not saying it now. And I know it's in here. I really do, because I left it in the magazine. And by the way, if you guys want to check out the magazines that I use on the show, you guys can head on over to thehohoshow.com. Just click on that newsfeed tab at the upper right-hand portion of your screen, and there you will see my magazine on Flipboard. They were leaving one state, and they were going to, Tennessee, I believe. But I'm not seeing that headline right now. I really don't. I'm not seeing it. Maybe I booted the thing out. Maybe I deleted it and got rid of it. That is very possible, because I have done such things before. Deleted the wrong one. And maybe that's what I did here. That's very possible. That is very possible. That is what I did. So, yeah, I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it at all. I'm looking for the whole moving to Tennessee. But I don't remember what company that was and what state they were leaving. I just remembered that it said that they were going to Tennessee. And absolutely, of course, I'm not seeing it. Dave puts in here, he goes, the California Policy Center has cataloged at least 50 large corporations that have left California since 2014. With the vast majority leaving in 2019 and 2020. I am not surprised. I really am not surprised. And to be honest with you, what surprises me is that any company would want to stay out in California. That's actually the thing that surprises me. Because whenever you look at, California, even, New York, with the amount of taxes that they place on corporate businesses, outside of the federal taxes that are put there. But just the state taxes. I mean, holy crap. I mean, if I had it my way, guys, I tell you what, there'd be a zero corporate tax. There really would be. I would not tax a corporation. I would, tax a person, because a person pays taxes. I mean, if you think for 1 second that Walmart pays a single tax, you're wrong. They don't. They don't pay taxes. Tesla, that's the other one. Here it is, actually, right here. No, wait, that's the same article that I was on. Okay, never mind. But, you know, I wouldn't tax a corporation because here's the thing. You know, whenever you go to Walmart or you think about Walmart being taxed, is Walmart paying those corporate taxes? No, they're not. No, they're not. I mean, if you think that, then you just don't understand how things are done. Because Walmart doesn't pay a single tax. Instead, the cost of that tax filters down to the customers. It filters down to you and me. That's who pays these corporate taxes. But an individual tax rate, you know, you pay your own taxes. That's how it works. That's how it's done. I guess I can get off that screen now. But that's how it's done. I wouldn't, you know, I would have as bare minimum corporate tax rate as I possibly could, as close to zero as I could possibly get. That's how I would do it. Because it's not the corporation that pays taxes. It's you and me, their customers, you know, that is, you know, that the cost of the taxes is filtered down into customers, people who pay for the service or pay for product or pay for whatever. You know, it's kind of like, you know, with Dave and I being in the trucking industry, you know, that cost of fuel for the semis, the cost of the driver, the cost of the general maintenance and the truck and the leasing and all that good stuff, all of that is added into and factored into the price of the goods and services that we are transporting. It's factored into it. And believe me, they're making a profit, and it's no small price to ship something. It's really not. You know, whenever you take all that stuff into consideration, you know, the fuel, the driver in the seat, the tires, the truck, the lease, the maintenance, all that good stuff, whenever you filter everything, whenever you include everything into that price, is no small number. It really isn't. Sam, hello over there in Facebook land. Good to see you. The last thing anyone should do is browse your magazine collection. Oh, you got a point. That is absolutely hilarious. That is funny. And you're right. They probably shouldn't browse my magazine collection. That would probably be bad. Yes, but when you take all that stuff into consideration, it's you know, that price isn't necessarily paid by the company. That's filtered down and is paid by other people. The same thing goes with the corporate tax rate. This is nothing that the corporations are actually going to pay. They don't pay it. They charge customers. They charge people like you and me. We're the ones who pay for that. An individual tax, absolutely, but corporate tax rate, nope, sorry, not going to do it. Moving on. And I seen this one, and I actually had to chuckle a little bit. I mean, there was a little chuckle. There was a definitely. This article from The Hill. Democratic anxiety rises as Trump bid appears more likely. Now, here's the thing, guys. I have absolutely no idea if Trump actually intends on running in 2024. I don't know. I really don't. I have no clue. You know, I know that he has hinted about it, but he's also hinted, you know, that he doesn't know, that maybe, possibly, you know, I mean, there's a lot of hints going on in this, you know, and that's why, you know, they have been attacking him in so many different ways. That's why they have been attacking Rudy Giuliani, you know, his lawyer. That's why they are, you know, doing all of the, you know, the things that's going on in the Biden administration right now, as far as getting rid of, you know, privileges for being president, that, you know, and why they're trying to force presidents in order to give up tax returns. Because, you know, right now, that's one of them things that it's not a rule, it's not a law that a president has to release their tax returns. It's just something that has been going on and is kind of considered tradition. You know, it's good form that they do this, but it's not law. You don't have to do it. And they're actually going after former President Trump on this to try to make this a thing. But what I want to see happen is people like Biden people like Nancy Pelosi, not just her, but her husband, oh man, there's some stuff that goes on right there. You know, I mean, it's amazing not of how they have as much money as they have. I mean, it's amazing how, you know, different things going on. And the next thing you know, the Mr. Nancy Pelosi ends up putting a bunch of money into the stock market. And then next thing you know, he's a multimillionaire 100 times over. This is what goes on in the Pelosi household. Why they don't call it insider trading, I have absolutely no idea. But that's what it is. But people like Nancy Pelosi and the ilk get away with it. But anyway. Dave put in here, he goes, I bet he's running. He's had a taste of it and he wants more. I think you're right. You know, I really do. I think he's running again. You know, I really do. But I don't know. I mean, you know, you look at Obama, you know, he spent 8 years into the presidency and he aged a lot in those 8 years. He really did. You know, President Trump, I mean, that man seemed like he got more energetic as time went on. You know, I mean, it didn't affect him the way that it affects most people. And, you know, President Trump did what most other presidents don't do. I mean, he fought back against, you know, he fought back against the deep state. He fought back against, you know, the party. He fought back against the norm. He was an outsider that they had no idea that he would be as popular as he was, regardless of all the attacks that they gave him. He was an outlier. And he shocked everybody. Everybody. I mean, think back to, election night, you know, how everybody was like, oh, you know, Hillary Clinton's got it in the bag. There is no way that she's not going to win this. It is a guarantee. And then as the night progressed, you know, reality started kicking in. There wasn't as much cheating that happened in 2016 because, honestly, they didn't think they needed to. They didn't think they did. They thought they had it in the bag. You know, they thought that there's no way this person who doesn't have a history in politics, especially whenever we're putting the first female, the first female candidate, there's no way she's going to lose. Look what happened. Dave put in there, he goes, he never backs down. He never admits defeat. His work is not done. It's his destiny. The great comeback. Just wait, it's coming. And you know what? I truly do hope you're right. And I think you are. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, you're right, though. I mean, you know, Trump feels as though he's got a job to do. You know, this is a man whom, you know, gave up his presidential salary for the 4 years he was in office. This is a man who lost money. This is a man who actually used the presidency, did the job in the very manner that our founding fathers wanted it to be done. A businessman who felt a calling to serve the nation that he loves, serve the people. That's what he did. And Dave, I truly do. I think you're right. I don't think that his job is done. He feels as though there is more that needs to be done. He knows the state that we are in. And, you know, okay, now granted, okay, I don't want people to believe and to feel that Trump is, you know, the movement, you know, the face of the movement. I don't want people to think that. Because if Trump is the face of the movement, you know, okay, do you guys remember Batman Begins? I know I'm putting a movie reference in here, but this is important, okay? Batman didn't choose to be Bruce Wayne. He chose to be Batman. Why? Because it's not about the person in the suit. It's about the symbology of what that suit represents. He chose a bat because it was something that terrified him. That's the point here. That's the point. President Trump can't be the face of the movement. It's got to be a conservative movement. It's got to be a patriot movement. It's got to be an American first movement. It can't be a bowel movement like what's going on in the Democrat Party. It can't be that. It's going to die. It's going to get flushed down the toilet. If Trump is the face of the movement, then it's not going to happen and it's going to die with Trump. But we can't let this thing die with Trump. We can't. The thing's got to live on. It's got to move on. It's got to move forward, regardless of who's in the White House, regardless of who is the Secretary of State or the head Senate guy person. Doesn't matter. This can't be something that lives and dies with Trump's presidency, with whatever they throw at President Trump. It can't happen that way. Because if it is, the movement is only going to last as long as President Trump stays in the spotlight. Once he's gone, then the movement dies. But we can't have that because, guys, we've got to save our country. That's just all there is to it. We've got to save our nation. We have issues going on right now, issues that go well beyond even Obama and Biden being in the White House. Even with all the Haitians that are crossing the border, the 60,000 more that are coming up as of last month. I don't know where they're at right now, but, last month, what was the date on that? Yep, here we go. 60,000 migrants, and this headline was September 30th of 2021. Oh, so that was last week. Well, that was last month too. Same thing. Anyway. Dave put in here, he goes, I was I-90 westbound to Rochester on election night. I was prepared for Hillary's big win. I was as shocked as anyone. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He puts in here, too, he goes, with DeSantis out there and other great conservatives out there, I'm not worried about the movement. I'm worried about the weakings in the Republican Party, the sellouts. They concern me. And you know what, Dave? They really do concern me too. In fact, we're going to get to that right after this quick break, because I tell you what, this is something that very much concerns me. And now we're going to get into the debt ceiling. That's where we're going to go from here. We're going to talk about the debt ceiling. We're going to talk about the caving of Mitch McConnell and what that may actually mean to us. How the Republican Party, how the politicians in general, this whole debt ceiling thing, to them, is just a number. And that's all it is. We'll be right back after this quick break stuff thing. Yeah. Do you love your occasional Mexican dish or your musical fruit? Are you tired of walking by family members and crop dusting them? Well, if this has ever happened to you, might I introduce you to Tampons brand butt plugs. Tampons brand butt plugs is that particular type of butt plug that allows you to walk in public in confidence knowing that you're not going to accidentally crop dust somebody. Tampons brand butt plugs now with the plastic applicator.
Not just for women anymore.
Tampons brand butt plugs. All right, and we are back. And it occurred to me while I was playing the music right before break, before I played the video, I forgot to turn on that whole auto ducking thing. You know, there's got to be something, right? You know, there's got to be something every time. There's got to be something. That's no big deal, though. I got it. I fixed it. We're good. Doesn't matter. So as Dave did the amazing job of getting me into this segue, this headline from PBS NewsHour: some in GOP unhappy with McConnell over the short-term debt deal with the Dems. And I tell you what, I'm one of them people. I am definitely unhappy with this. This is ridiculous. And with some of the stuff that's been coming out, it really tells me where their focus is and how much politicians, not just the Democrats, but the Republicans, how they have no intention whatsoever of actually paying back the debt. Because here's the thing, guys. I'm not sure if you're aware of this. I'm not sure where we're at on the national debt, but here's the thing, neither do you. Because there are things in there that they don't include in the national debt because this is just reoccurring stuff that they don't factor into the national debt. Like Medicare, Medicaid, SSI payments, stuff like that. They don't even include those into the national debt. They consider those to be numbers and digits that are just part of it, and they don't even include it into the national debt at all. So the reality is our national debt is upwards of closer and probably even over $100 trillion with a T. That is trillion with a T. Yep, that's where it's at. That's how bad it actually is. And they don't tell you that because if you actually knew how bad it really was, then maybe people would have a little bit more, what are you guys doing here, than what they actually do. Maybe then there would be a little bit more balking from the American citizen on them spending money on stupid crap like gender studies in Pakistan. You know, do you guys realize that we send money to like, what, 140 to 150 countries out of 190 sovereign countries on Earth? Yeah, we just give them money as global welfare. That's what we do. Here we are, over $100 trillion in debt, and we just give money away out of the goodness, out of their heart. They're not giving their money away. They're giving your money away, yours and mine. That's whose money they're giving away. Just giving it away. And there's no quid pro quo going on here at all. You know, for whatever reason, you know, the Democrats wanted to say the quid pro quos are bad. But look, it's quid pro quo. It's tit for tat. It's this for that. That's how every single business transaction is done. It's a this for that. You go to Walmart, you fill up your cart, you put that cart on the conveyor belt, they ring it up, and you get this, or you give this for that. You have to pay for it. That's a business transaction. That's a quid pro quo. That's a this for that. That's a tit for tat. That's what it is. Every single business deal. But what do we do in America? We just give. We don't expect anything in return. We just give. And it's not out of the goodness of their heart because they're not paying for it. You know, and I don't remember whom this guy was, but there was a Democrat that was unhappy about the $3.5 trillion thingy jig that they were talking about, you know, the spending package that they were talking about. Okay. And he's like, no, the most I'm willing to go is 1.5 trillion. That's it. You know, and really that is a compromise. I see that as a compromise because my number is 0. So I am compromising by saying and telling you that I'll go up to 1.5 trillion. I don't know who that was. I don't remember right now. This was like a week and some ago. So I don't remember. I apologize. I don't remember. And I was listening to a soundbite. I was listening to a clip of another congressperson that was ridiculing him about that stance, going, you really don't know how government works. You see, we're the government. We can spend money on anything we want to spend money on. It's just a number. It's an arbitrary number that doesn't mean anything. That's why we have over $100 trillion in debt, because these people don't understand the value of money. That's why we're in the boat that we're in. These people don't care. And so this debt ceiling, raising the debt ceiling, you want to know what this amounts to? This isn't about, don't let them lie to you. This isn't about not paying their debt. This isn't about defaulting on their payments. This is about not being able to open up a new line of credit, get another credit card, because they want to live a lavish lifestyle and continue to pay all the money to their special interest groups that they spend money on. That's all this amounts to. And what are they threatening the American people with? Oh, well, we're going to be shutting down parks. We're only going to be able to pay like 40% on Medicare, Medicaid, SSI, all this other kind of stuff. And you're lucky that we're going to be willing to pay that out, because we're not going to be able to do that. Because instead, what they intend on doing is living the lifestyle that they normally live, taking all the tax dollars, and instead of actually paying on the debt, all they're going to do is pay that money out to their special interest groups. They don't intend on paying you back for the debt that they've already incurred. This isn't about paying the debt that we have already incurred. That's not what this is about. This is about the federal government applying for another credit card and being pissed whenever the American people are going, no, we don't really think this is a good idea. Because they're spending 100% over every year what they bring in taxes. You as an individual, what would happen if you went to a bank? You earn $50,000 a year and you're spending $100,000 a year on BS. I bought it this, I bought it that, I bought a boat, I bought a really big house, I can't afford it, but I bought it, and what would happen if you went to a bank and say, hey, I need a $100,000 loan, but you're only bringing in $50,000 a year. That's it. That's all you're bringing in. And you want a $100,000 loan for what? Don't worry about what I want the money for. I want to spend it. I want to live my lavish lifestyle. As a federal government, we have a champagne taste on a Natty Light budget. That's what we got. They have no interest on paying this back. They have no interest, no want, no desire to actually service the debt like what they say. Instead, they're taking it from you, and they don't even look at it as a number, as something that is real. Because, we're the federal government. We can do whatever we want to. We have the power. We're He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. We have the power. The power of Grayskull says that we can spend this money on whatever we want to spend it on. The dollar amount doesn't matter. It's an arbitrary number. It means nothing. That's what they feel. That's what they believe. No wonder our national debt is over $100 trillion. Holy crap. And whenever I hear Mitch McConnell, how the right was saying, and Dave put in here, he goes, I want my money back. And you know what? I do too. I do too. And based on that, Dave, that's actually a really good point, because that's something that if we actually did, okay, you look at how a corporation has to pay taxes. They have to, write a check. They got to cut that check every quarter. Every 3 months, they got to cut that check. They got to do their taxes. They have to hire a team of accountants and lawyers on top of that, just to make sure that they can keep as much money as they possibly can. That's what happens. What do you do? Nothing. You fill out a W-4. You receive a W-2. You claim on your W-4 as little as possible, so at the end of the year on your W-2, you can have that and you can get as much money back. You go to a company like H&R Block, and you answer a few questions and you get as much money back as you can, but you don't cut the money to them. This is money that's taken out of your check every single pay period. You don't pay them that money. Think about how different it would be if we actually had to cut that check every week. If when every week that we get paid, the very first check that was written, we had to write out the zeros. We had to go to the bank. We had to get the dead presidents. We had to put that in an envelope with a note to the IRS that says, thank you for spending my money on bogus crap. Thank you for spending $5 trillion on a toilet seat. That was absolutely amazing. Because if that actually happened, if we were more involved with how we pay taxes, then maybe, just maybe, we would be more involved and more aware and actually care a little bit more about how our tax dollars are spent. Maybe. Dave put in here, he goes, we work so hard for it and they give it away too easy. And you're absolutely right, they do. And you want to know why they give it away so easy? Because it's not their money. They don't care. You know, there was a time in this country that in order to vote, you had to be a landowner. And even though I don't necessarily agree with that, I agree with the sentiment. Excuse me a second. I gotta take a drink. I really do. I got a frog in my throat, and it is annoying me. I agree with the sentiment. Because the whole frame of mind behind it was you have to have a stake in the game in order to vote on the people who are going to represent us in D.C., in the state house, and the state governors and all this stuff. You have to have a stake in the game. So if your relationship to government, and because here's where I go on this, you know, and it's not about land ownership. This is about paying taxes. If your relation to government isn't a net negative, man. So if your relation to government isn't a net negative on your pocketbook, then you don't get to vote. What do I mean by that? Well, if at the end of the year you're giving government more money than they give you, that means that your relationship to government is a net negative. That means you're paying taxes. And if you're paying taxes, then you should be able to vote because that's your money that they're spending. You know, the person who has a net positive relationship to government, somebody who gets more than they put in, they're not paying taxes. They are a beneficiary of government. Why should they vote on a bigger handout? Because that's all they're voting for. They're voting on a bigger handout. I personally don't like that type of relationship to government. If your relationship is a net positive, you should not have the right to vote because then you are voting on how somebody else's money is getting used. And as somebody who is a beneficiary of government, who the hell are you to say where my money should go? That's a good question. And if you can come up with an answer on that, one that isn't talking about theft, I'm willing to hear you out. But the problem is, no. You can't give me a good reason because there isn't one. All that is theft. That's all it is. You know, and of course, you know, the person who's getting the handout, well, yeah, they want a bigger handout. Why would they not want a bigger handout? And I mean, holy cow, if I was the one getting the huge handout, yeah, I would want a bigger handout too. You know, I'm not really faulting the people who were getting the handout. Don't get me wrong on that. But the problem is, or the point is, you shouldn't have a say on where somebody else's money is getting spent. You really shouldn't. You know what I mean? Think about this. You know what I mean? You know, back in my day when I was a kid, I didn't get any say on how money got spent. I didn't have any say on the stuff that was being bought. You know, I may ask my parents for something, yeah, but I can't demand it. Oh, heck no, I couldn't demand it. If I demanded it, there was consequences. I want this, I want that. Get a job, pay for it. Crap. Yeah, that's how that works, you know? So yeah, that's my sentiment on that. That's my sentiment on paying taxes. But my point is, guys, back to my original point on this, okay? They have no plans. They have no want. They have no desire. They don't even care about paying down that national debt. They really don't. Because isn't it amazing how, for how many years that we have not been running on a national budget? We haven't had a budget. In how long? I don't think 1 year in the Obama presidency that they operated within a budget. I think the last time, and this is Trump's presidency as well, we didn't run on a budget. We haven't run on a budget since one of the Bush years. I don't remember which Bush it was, but that was the last time our nation actually had a budget. They don't want a budget. Why? Because they would much rather do the omnibus bills that are huge spending things so that this way they can cram crap into it, make the thing so big, more words that are in the freaking Bible so that this way nobody can decipher what's actually in it and nobody knows what's going on until it's too late. And then by the time we know it's too late, enough time has passed, you know, like a week before the next omnibus bill comes out, and considering people are stupid and we'd only have a memory the size of a peanut, we don't remember what happened last week and how they had all that crap in there. And we still have no idea what was in the last omnibus bill. We don't know. They want to say this, that, and the other, but the fact of the matter is we don't know. And they use lines like, oh, you want to know what's in it? Well, then pass it. Even though that worked so well whenever it came to Obamacare. You know, you would think that we would have learned our lesson by then, but no. Because they still use that very same line today. They used that line with the last omnibus bill. What's in that bill? Well, pass it to find out. Okay, yeah, we'll do that. We'll get right on that. So it was Mitch McConnell that was standing up there going, no, we're not going to just allow them to do this. We're going to hold our own. We're going to hold our ground. But what did he do? He caved. He caved, and he said something that made me laugh. He said, we caved now so that we won't have to cave later. Wait, what? You mean to tell me you bent over and took it up the tailpipe just so you can say, Mama said lock my butt later on in December? That's what you did? You know, you bent over, took it up the tailpipe just so this way, come December, you can lock your butt. That's what you're telling me. I don't believe you. I don't believe you whatsoever. He caved. Why did Mitch McConnell cave? Because he's a rhino Republican just like Romney is. He's a Romney Republican. Because he doesn't actually care about whether they're spending more money. This is another man who does nothing more than live in suckles off the government teat. He's been doing that for quite a while. He's another reason why all politicians, people in the Senate, people in the House of Representatives, and including the president, only win that president actually gets money and earns his paycheck, because that's the thing. I mean, President Trump, just for the simple reasoning of he, excuse me, he didn't accept his paycheck whenever he was in office. He gave it away to charity. I don't care how he earned his money before going to Washington, D.C. I want to know why somebody like AOC, who goes into Washington broken, not broken, but broke, barely without a penny to their name, and now just gets $35,000 ticket given to them to go to the Catalina wine mixer. No, it wasn't the Catalina wine mixer. But you get my point. I want to see the tax return from these people like Joe Biden, who has been in Washington, D.C. since 1973. That freaking rhymed. It's amazing. But I want to see their tax returns. I want to see the tax return of Nancy Pelosi Nancy Pelosi and her husband on how they have made the money and amassed the wealth that they have, being a figure in D.C. that makes $170,000 a year. Holy crap, that's a lot of money. That's a good living to make. I want to see their tax returns. I don't care about President Trump, who made his money before going to Washington and didn't accept a penny as his, for his payment. He served the American people, and he didn't accept a paycheck to do it. I don't care about President Trump's tax returns. I could care less. I want to look at Joe Biden, not because he's president now, but because he's been serving in government since 1973. I want to see Nancy Pelosi's. I want to see Chuck Schumer's. And even though she's not been there that long, I want to see AOC's as well. That's who I'm interested in. Because they've made a lot of money in D.C. They've made a lot of money. How? Where are they getting that money from? That's what I want to know. So let's go ahead and move on to the next topic. I think we've kind of beaten on that one enough. No need to continue on that one. Let's talk a little bit about Facebook. This headline from TechSpot. Whew, that's a good article right there. Facebook bans, and that's not where I was wanting to go. That's not what I was wanting to go at all. Where's the article? Nope, that's not it. Yeah, maybe that is it. Yeah, here we go. So Facebook's new nightmare is suddenly coming true. That's not the article. That's really not the article. Where did the article go? Facebook bans, sends cease and desist. Yeah. That's funny, but no. Okay, so maybe this was it. Anyway, here's where I'm going with this article. Whew, that was a train wreck right there, wasn't it? That was a train wreck. Y'all know about what happened. Now I got an itch on my nose. This has just been one of them days. I got a frog in my throat. I got an itch on my nose, on the tip of my nose right there. This is ridiculous. I don't like this. Dave puts in there, he goes, taxes, smaxes, who cares? Get to work, get the job done. Exactly. Get to work, get the job done. All right, so let's see here. You guys know about what happened with Facebook. Facebook shut down for like 7 hours on Monday. And this is the funny thing. Okay, guys, here's the thing. I was off Facebook for a little over a year, or actually it was like almost a year to the day that I actually, that I got off Facebook and then I got back on Facebook. And the only reason why I got back on Facebook was for this right here, the radio show, the Ho Ho Show. This is the only reason why I got back on Facebook. Just so I can broaden my social networking non-skills, because I suck at social networking. I really do. I don't do this thing very well. I really don't. I suck at it. So basically, I've been back on Facebook for about 4 years. But that year that I was off, you guys want to know how much I missed? Nothing. The same memes that were going around the year before was still going around. I didn't miss anything. Nothing new, nothing exciting happened that I didn't find out what was going on. Whether it be the interwebs, whether it be, just any number of places you can get news and information from, friends being included into that. I still knew what was going on. I didn't need Facebook. But anyway, I had to get told on Monday that Facebook was down. I was like, hey, is your Facebook down? I'm like, I have no freaking clue. I opened up my phone. I clicked the button on Facebook. Click, swipe up, put my phone back away. Yep, it's down. For 7 hours, apparently, Facebook was down. Holy crap. And I tell you what, this is... Yeah, so you know what? Let's just get into the article. Because I tell you what, this is the thing that made me kind of Josh Lomprez, how you doing over there in YouTube land? He says, what's up, dude? Not much, man. How you doing? Good to see you over there. But let's talk a little bit about this. Let's get into this article because I tell you what, I was surprised, not, about the timing of what was going on. You know, here you have a whistleblower that is, you know, either about to or has already testified, a whistleblower from Facebook. And here you have, for 7 or 8 hours, you have Facebook globally shutting down. But let's go ahead and get into this article. Facebook has had a nightmare week. It started with revelations that the social media giant had been putting profits before people. Gee, who would have thunk it? Something Facebook vehemently denies. Then suddenly came Monday's outage of Facebook services. Facebook, WhatsApp, and Instagram as a result of misconfiguration. If you believe that one, I got a bridge to sell you. I'm not even kidding. I got some oceanfront property in Nevada. I would be more than happy to sell you if you believe that one. Facebook reputational nightmare worsened as the week ended with another outage affecting some users on Friday. Facebook's Monday outage was met with outrage. In some countries, the digital economy was effectively wiped out because its services are integral in speaking to employees, friends, and family. Other services related to Facebook didn't work either, such as sign in with Facebook. Now, you guys want to know what my suspicion was on this one? I think with whatever was going on with that whistleblower, you know, testifying, I think whatever was going on, I think they had to clean up their servers. That's what I think they did. Otherwise, why would there be some type of a misconfiguration that affected every single server globally on the entire Facebook network? That doesn't happen, guys. That doesn't happen unless it happened by design. Do you really think for 1 second that a company as big as Facebook is going to allow some type of a snafu to happen where their servers aren't at least back up in some way, shape, or form? Like, I can understand maybe a half-hour outage in a sector, but not globally, and definitely not for 7 hours. I don't buy that for 1 second. I really don't. I wouldn't even buy that for $1. I don't care how much money it's worth. I wouldn't buy it. Ain't no way. Because I don't believe it. Not even for a second. I think they were doing something. I think there was something nefarious going on. I really do. You know, and I might be wrong on this one, but I think this had to do with them having to clean up their servers because of something. Something that was being testified about, something that was going on. That's what I think. And it's peculiar how this person who was testifying in front of Congress was like, you know, what we really need is somebody to oversee. You know, it's like, because this whole, Section 230, this is an outdated thing. You know, we really need somebody, a czar, to be put over all of this. We really need somebody to rein in these different companies like Facebook and like Twitter. We really need this to happen. We need a czar, an overlord to be put over everybody. And you know what? You know who would be the perfect person for that? That's right. This guy. That's what she said. That is what she said. That we need somebody in a position of power in government to oversee everything that's going on with social media. And the person who should be in charge of that is me, since I obviously know so much about what's going on. I know the ins and the outs, and I know how, their backdoor stuff and how they try to get away with things, and I am the perfect person for that position. There's even people saying that she was actually, somebody from the, the CIA or FBI that was put in there undercover to find out some dirty little secret. There's some people saying that. I don't know how much I believe that one, But, you know, I mean, hey, with all the stuff that is going on, you know, that the FBI has been outed about, I really wouldn't be surprised, but I don't know if I believe it though either. You know, just throwing that out there. I don't know. But what I do know is the timing of all this seems pretty stinking peculiar to me. Because there ain't no way in hell that Facebook is going to shut down globally, you know, everywhere, globally for 7 hours. That they didn't have any kind of backup, something that they can just flip a switch and have a backup version up and ready. You know, I don't believe it. No way. Josh Patrick puts in there. Hello, by the way, over there in Facebook land. He goes, it was a play from Hillary Clinton's playbook, delete everything. You're right. That's hilarious. You might be right on that, you know, but I do. I think there's something going on. I think that they had to get into the servers, you know, on the actual server level and change some things, get rid of some information, what have you, and they had to do that globally. The whole entire system, everywhere, they had to update something, remove some information, get rid of it on the server level. That's what I think happened. You know, that's absolutely what I think happened. Just being honest with you. You know, and the sad thing is we may never actually find out what happened. We may never know what happened. You know, but the fact of the matter is Facebook has seen a pretty good hit from this. You know, they really have, because there's a lot of people that they do their business dealings on Facebook, on social media in general. You know, and the amount of money that was lost because of that 7-hour snafu, companies have been feeling it. Not only that, right after and even during it, this was going on, a lot of companies were like, okay, fine. How are we going to do this to where if this were to happen again, that we can kind of mitigate the impact that it's going to have on our business, our ability to make money, our ability to communicate with our customers, our clients, you know, whatever the case may be. What can we do to safeguard to where our company isn't going to be dependent that heavily for marketing, for what have you on Facebook? What can we do? And a lot of people are like, you know, we need to stop. You know, we need to stop with this whole Facebook thing. Facebook wants to ban people. We need to ban Facebook. Businesses, individuals, a lot of people, this is the rhetoric that you're hearing going on. This article from TechSpot, Facebook bans and sends a cease and desist letter to developer of unfollow everything extension. So you see, Facebook, even though it's okay for them to mess with somebody's pocketbook, they don't really like it whenever you start jacking around with theirs. And apparently, I can only assume that this, unfollow everything extension has actually been kind of successful, because otherwise, why would Facebook send a cease and desist letter telling them to stop? I'm just saying, you know, apparently it's been kind of effective. Apparently. But yeah, I mean, you got a lot of people that they make their money, they use Facebook as their social media platform to advertise, to get their brand in front of people, in their faces, so that this way they can be aware of whatever it is that they're doing. A lot of people make money using Facebook. And the sad thing is, this is just a fact of the matter. You think about the hours that people spend on Facebook. Think about that. Different videos that are on there, and a little 5-second blip, as an advertisement, some little banner going across somebody's screen. One, that costs a lot of money. But why does it cost a lot of money? Because it's effective. It puts it in front of people's faces. And you rely on that income. People are on Facebook more reliably, more often, more hours out of the day than what people are watching football. Fact of the matter is, Facebook ads are more impactful, leave a more lasting impression on people than what commercials do on the Super Bowl. I'm just telling you the way that it is. And man, I tell you what, I know people, and this guy included, I only watch Facebook, or not Facebook. I only watch Super Bowl for the commercials. I like Super Bowl commercials, and since the YouTubes, whenever I can just go on YouTube and search Super Bowl commercials, I don't have to watch the game anymore because I don't really care about the game. Even if I go to a Super Bowl party, yeah, I might be watching the game. I enjoy the game. But I'm there for the company. I'm not really there for the game. I don't really care. I don't pay attention to football. But the point is, it's more impactful than what Super Bowl commercials are because it's actually in your face more. It's effective. That's why people use it. It's effective. And you have now people going, maybe we shouldn't rely on Facebook so much. Maybe we shouldn't. So guys, I tell you what, this thing's actually kind of going long. But what we're going to do is take one more quick break. What do I want to play? Let's play this one. We're going to do one more quick break, and then when I return, we're going to talk a little bit about the COVID, some of the stuff that's going on that. We're not going to dive real heavily into it, but we're going to talk about a pill. And it's not the blue pill, it's actually a red pill. We're going to talk about that right after this. Don't go nowhere.
You are correct. You are correct.
Have you ever had an ailment that a normal over-the-counter remedy just couldn't fight? If this is the case, then boy, have I got the solution for you. Tussin. That's right, Tussin. Cough? Tussin. Cold? Tussin. Runny nose? Tussin. Itchy watery eyes? Tussin. Broken leg? Tussin. Tussin is the ultimate cure-all, guaranteed to stop anything that ails you. Tussin. Available wherever OTCs are sold. Oh, yeah, and we are back. So, guys, I'll tell you what, this is where I'm going. And there's been some interesting developments going on and some things that I think y'all need to know on the COVID front. This headline, and I have got to pause this naked thing. I don't even care about this video. I really don't. But this headline from USA Today, let me go ahead and get into it right now. It says, new antiviral is highly effective, study finds, and is stirring hope that COVID-19 could be treated by a pill. And as you can see by the picture right here, it is a red pill. That's what we're taking. We're taking the red pill. Holy crap. I wonder if they did that on purpose. Just saying, I wonder if they did that on purpose. We're going to take the red pill. Okay, anyway. But this isn't a vaccine. This is a treatment. Why is that important? You see, here's the thing whenever it comes down to, this whole vaccine mandates with the mandatory vaccines, with the emergency approval for these vaccines. And this is why they have been covering up. They have been ignoring the fact they won't let you use certain things, as they say, off label, like ivermectin, like hydroxychloroquine, even though this is something that has been done for a very long time. I mean, think about it, guys. I'm talking about the magic little bitty blue pill that makes the TP stand up. The Viagra pill. Did you know that that's an off-label use of what it's used for today in men? Yeah. Viagra is actually heart medication. But it had a side effect that was pleasing to some people, and they use it off-label. Just being honest with you. So this is something that is done. All right, this isn't and shouldn't be any surprise to anybody. Of course, this is being done. So why they're making this a big deal about ivermectin, about hydroxychloroquine, about, even I've seen an article that every single person whom has died of the COVIDs has been vitamin D deficient. That's interesting. I'm not saying that taking vitamin D is going to save your life, but let's see. Studies show this, so I can possibly combat it with that. That's kind of interesting to me. Every person who's died from the COVID has been vitamin D deficient. That's a scientific fact, but they don't want to rely on science. They don't want to at all. Why? Because they are making millions with a B. I don't know how much money they're making. I seen a figure on it a while back ago. I don't know what that figure is now. They've made a ton of money on this. Off of taxpayer expenses, by the way. But here's the thing. They have, they have emergency use authorization. Why? Because they don't have a therapeutic. Because if you have a therapeutic for something, if you have medication that you can give somebody, then you can't get emergency authorization. According to the FDA. Yes, FDA, yeah. According to them, you can't get emergency use authorization if there is an effective therapeutic. That's the word, effective. Okay? But here's the thing. This is what they did during the whole COVID. Do you guys remember what they did? Oh, you're sick. Okay, stay home. I can't breathe. Okay, come in. We'll put you on a respirator. Anybody will tell you that whenever it comes to the best way to survive a sickness is early detection and early treatment. So why did they ignore that? Even though you had studies that proved that hydroxychloroquine, that ivermectin is effective. Even though there is research, even though there are studies after studies after studies from scientists, from doctors in the real world that aren't sucking from the government teat like Fauci, who lies and lies and lies and says one thing this week and another thing next week and said something totally different 2 weeks ago. Nobody wants to seem to pay attention to that. Why are we listening to people whom aren't really doctors, who hasn't seen a patient in God knows how long, instead of actually letting people whom are doctors actually stand out, step up, speak the truth, and actually be effective in their messaging? Why don't they allow that? Is it because the government's getting kickbacks from these companies like Pfizer, like Moderna, like Johnson & Johnson? Could that be the reason? Because the only way to actually get this into the arm as many people as absolutely possible is to lie about the test results. And it's not a vaccine, it's a therapeutic. Because if it was a vaccine, much like polio, people wouldn't be concerned about whether or not I take the vaccine. They wouldn't care. Why? Because it would be effective. Why take the vaccine? That's actually what my question is. Why take the vaccine? Now, look, I'm not telling you whether you should or you shouldn't. I'm not doing that. I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to, I'm not a doctor on Facebook. I don't have my Twitter degree. I don't have that. I'm not going to lie and say that I do. But here's the thing. Why take the vaccine? Can you still get it? Yes. Can you still spread it? Yes. Can you still die from it? Yes. What's the point? Can you live life normal? No. So I still have to wear a mask. Are we still in lockdown? Yeah, pretty much. Still got a social distance? So what you're telling me is life pre-vaccine and post-vaccine doesn't change. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Why take the vaccine? If it was a vaccine, then I'd be protected. If it was a vaccine, then it wouldn't matter who is taking it and who isn't taking it. If it was a vaccine, then life would go back to normal. And all the people that have a hard time trusting government would be dead, because this thing's been going on, for more than a year now. We're coming up on 2 years now. People like me should all be dead. But here's the thing. They don't want the control group to be out there. That's what I represent. I represent the control group. I'm one of them people who have no intention of getting the vaccine. I'm not going to take the vaccine. I'm not going to do it. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, if you actually go to the doctor and it's like, do you agree to take this vaccine? No, not really. I'm taking this under duress. I'm being forced. I'm being blackmailed into taking this shot. No, I don't want this shot. I don't agree to this shot, but it's a term of my employment or whatever the case may be. I'm being forced to do this. I am here under duress. If a doctor is actually following their Hippocratic oath, not Hippocratic oath or Hippocratic oath, whatever that oath is, they wouldn't actually be able to give you the shot. If you were being honest with them, do you agree to take this shot? Are you doing this of your own free will? No, I am not doing this under my own free will. They really shouldn't be giving you the shot. In fact, it's kind of bad that they do give you the shot, because you're not making the decision to take the shot, but that's beside the point. Fact of the matter is, they don't want people like me out there. Instead, they want countries like Israel out there. Countries that are like over 90% vaccinated. Whenever you have 84% of the people whom are being hospitalized for COVIDs, even though 79% of them that are being hospitalized aren't even in the hospital for the COVIDs. And yes, the ICUs are overrun. Why are the ICUs overrun? Because if you're in there, back to a previous point that I was making, most of the people, 84% of the people who are actually going into the hospital for the COVIDs aren't in there for the COVIDs. They're in there for something else. I'm about ready to have a camera shoved up my hind end. Guess what I got to do before I do that? I got to have a COVID test. So I'll be in there for one thing. And if I get tested and if I show up that I'm positive, guess what? I'm not in there for the COVIDs. I'm in there to get a camera shoved up my butt. I could care less about the COVIDs. I'm asymptomatic. I say that while having, a small cough because I'm flinty. It's that time of the year, guys. Harvest is going on. Don't be freaking out, man. Not everything is the COVIDs. There are still colds. There are still reactions to allergies. People can still sneeze, and as long as you are, sneezing into the crook of your arm, stuff like that, you're not wearing a mask and then you take your mask down so you can cough. You don't do that. People that are of the religion of the masks don't even wear this stinking thing correctly, touch it all the freaking time, and then touching their face, and then they're like, oh, I'm protected. No, you're an idiot. You just got done touching your face, you touch your mask, you touch all this kind of stuff. Your mask is now useless. What you should do is throw the stinking thing away, grab yourself another one. I remember being at, going to the restroom. Now, this is a true story. This really happened. Yes, I go pee from time to time. That ain't my point. But I went in there, I used the bathroom, I'm standing there, I'm doing my business. I get done, head over, wash my hands. A guy comes in, he's wearing gloves. Blue gloves, he's obviously doesn't have Smurf hands. These are gloves. It's pretty obvious. He goes in there, he does his business wearing his gloves the entire time. And then he walks past the sink. It is so ingrained and indoctrinated into him that not only does he have to wear gloves because he's got to protect himself from the COVIDs, even though he did his business with his gloves on, he washed his hands. I'm sorry, I worded that wrong. I apologize. My bad. He washed his gloves. Walks past the sink, runs the water. He didn't take his gloves off. He didn't throw them away. He didn't put a new pair of gloves on. No, he washed his gloves with soap and water. Are you freaking kidding me? Am I supposed to feel safe around that person? I kid you not, guys. I mean, it's ridiculous. People riding in the car by themselves, the windows up, and they're wearing a mask. Who are you afraid of? Do you have Casper sitting shotgun? Can he even be symptomatic, let alone asymptomatic? Can he pass the COVIDs on to you? You're in an enclosed environment with the windows up, alone by yourself in a car, and you're wearing a mask. You know, even families that are together wearing their mask while they're driving down the road. It's like, dude, do you wear a condom when you're laying in bed by yourself or with your wife? I mean, do you do that? You know, are you the type of person who would get castrated because your neighbor has too many kids? Are you that person? Because I want to know. Because this is ridiculous kind of activity going on here. I really don't understand this. Are you wearing the mask when you're at home? Are you the type of person that actually follows through with the guidelines that was set by some governors? You know, take your mask off, take a bite, put your mask back on while you chew and swallow, and then repeat. Are you that person? Is that what you're doing? Because that's ridiculous. You know, the fact of the matter is, none of these things that we were being told that we needed to do actually made sense to anybody. It wasn't following science. There was no science involved in this. The whole thing was about control since day one. If these things actually made sense, you know, you can't go to church, but you can go to a protest. You know, you can go to a party, but you can't, you know, go to a Trump rally. You know, the people that are the guests of honor, like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez at the Catalina wine mixer. Yeah, she doesn't have to wear a mask, but the servers, they have to wear masks because AOC and the ilk are special. Because apparently the virus knows that AOC is important, and the virus isn't going to attack her because it knows better. COVID-19 is woke, didn't you know? It understands the difference between a protest and a Trump rally. It knows the difference between a protest and going to church, didn't you know? If any of this stuff made sense, then people like me, who are critical thinkers, who learned a long time ago how to think, not what to think, and how to think for themselves and think critically. You know, people who actually know that 2 + 2 doesn't equal pineapple. You see, people like us, like you and me, we see what's going on and we're like, nah, none of this makes sense. None of this makes sense. When we know that whenever it comes to treating cancer, it's detect early and early treatment. But for some reason, whenever it came down to the COVIDs, we want you to stay in your home, breathe recycled air, get as sick as possible to where you have no choice but to come to the hospital. And by then, you're so bad that the only thing we can do is put you on a respirator. And unfortunately, for the most part, once you're that far along, it's a little bit too late. There's not a whole heck of a lot we can do. And heaven forbid we actually let people take something that would actually help instead of waiting so long that the only option there is death. It seems kind of weird to me, strange to me. And this is still going on. And it will continue to go on until we finally take a stand. But, again, though, that's one of the things. They don't want people like me out there. Why? Not only because I do stuff like this. I stir the pot. I got no problem licking the spoon. I'm okay with that. I'll do that. But they don't want people like me out there because they want everybody vaccinated. Because if there's somebody that isn't vaccinated, that can go, hey, look, I've been exposed. That almost every single friend I have has had it. Over the past 2 years, in every aspect of my life, I know somebody that has had it. I have friends that has had family members die from it. So I'm not saying that it's not real. It is real. But you know what else is real? The flu, pneumonia. And with the exception of 2020 and 2021, the people die from the flu and pneumonia. We haven't been seeing that, because for some reason everything's classified as the COVIDs. Josh put in here, goes, sorry, keep missing the show, buddy. Hey, you know what? That's all right. That happens. That is not a big deal, sir. I'm glad to see you in here today, though. I really am. I'm glad you was able to stop by. I do appreciate that. So, guys, you know what? We've been doing this for, holy crap, a while. We've been doing this for a little while. But there is one thing that I want to talk about before I let you guys go, and that is this supply chain. This article from Fox News, and it's not even an article. This is something different. It says, supply chain workers warn of system collapse. Almost 2 hours. Yep, Dave, it's been like an hour and 40 minutes. Holy crap. It's been going on for a while. Supply chain workers warn of system collapse. But here's the reason why. Okay, there's a reason why. David goes, over 4 years for you. Congratulations. Yes, I appreciate that. It's been a trip, man. It really has. It's definitely been a trip. And I tell you what, it's been, my first shows were horrible. They really were. I keep them on there. This way people can, listen to the cringeworthiness of it. Man, they were bad. They really were. I've come a long way. I really have. I've learned a thing or two in 4 years. I hope I'm getting better. And I appreciate all the people that has been giving me feedback. And, you especially, Dave, you've helped me out a lot over the past 4 years. Immensely appreciated. You have no idea. It's awesome. I appreciate it. The best is yet to come. Absolutely. I believe that. I do. I absolutely do believe that. But what we got going on, though, is with people not wanting to go to work, with the government paying people to stay home, we're having issues in the supply chain. We have off the coast of not only California, but New York as well, both coasts, we have shipping ships that ship stuff that aren't able to get into the harbor to get unloaded. Because there's a shortage of workers to unload the trucks, to unload the ships, to unload the trucks. And there is going to be and is already happening a supply chain shortage. Now, I don't know if this is a global thing. Some people are saying it is. I don't know. But I do know this is going on here. In fact, this video that's playing right now, you can see all the ships that are out there. And this was September 20th in California. So we got a crisis coming up, guys. And what's scary about this is, for some reason, I just muted the sinking thing. That was hilarious. At least I didn't try to talk. But anyway, what's scary about this is going on, and we're only a week into September right now. We are how many weeks away from Christmas? 1, 2, 3. Well, that was the wrong way. we're a little over 2 months. Man, if I could click the right button, that would be absolutely amazing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8. Yeah. Okay, so apparently I can't count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11. Holy crap, man. There's a song out there, I can only count to 4. I needed to, use a toe to get up to 11. Kept getting distracted on myself. 11 weeks. 11 weeks from Christmas. It's on a Saturday this year, just in case you didn't know. I'm looking at the calendar right now. 11 weeks away from Christmas, and we are already having this issue of supply chain shortages. What's going to happen in the weeks leading up to Black Friday? How long is it going to take to get the things that you want? What's Walmart going to look like on Black Friday? Holy crap, I can't even imagine. How many deals are they actually going to have? Are they actually going to risk opening the doors for Black Friday? With how desperate some people are, the gift that their kid absolutely must have, whatever that, that big blowout thing is that they need, whatever the toy of the year is. How are we going to manage that one? Are we even going to have people in the store to play bouncer while this is going on? Because we know we can't rely on the cops because cops are bad, right? I mean, that's what they say. That's what the left is telling us. Got to defund the police, so it's not like they can even use, assistance from the police officers. I love it. There was a rally, an anti-police protest that was going on. And, what did these people do? They called up the police and said, hey, we need you guys to play crowd control. Oh, yeah, for our protest. Oh, yeah, you need to, for your protest, huh? Yeah. I need you to play crowd control for our protest. Well, what are you guys protesting? We're saying F the police. You guys need to be defunded and whatnot. Uh-huh. But yet you're calling us asking for protection. Uh-huh. That takes some cojones. On a certain level, I got to have some kind of respect for the person that made that call, to call the cops, to say, hey, we need you guys to run interference against, people that are against our protest because we're protesting the police, but we want you guys to protect us even though we're going to protest. That takes some balls right there. That really does. But anyway, already with what's going on, with the amount of ships that are stuck outside the harbor because we can't get people to unload them, 11 weeks away from Christmas, less than that away from Black Friday, let's just knock a few weeks off of it, it's coming. What's going to happen in whatever 11 minus however many weeks away that Black Friday is? Holy cow. What's our nation going to look like then? Them some scary thoughts right there, guys. So I tell you what, man, I appreciate y'all stopping by. I really do. Awesome seeing everybody out there in the chat rooms today. And even those that stopped by and didn't participate in the chat, I thank you too for showing up, for, hearing the show and just listening. I know you guys are out there. I see the numbers. Y'all are amazing, and I do appreciate it. Every one of you. I thank you very much. So y'all have yourself a wonderful day. Good night. Sleep tight. And if the bed bugs bite, bite them back. This has been The Ho Ho Show. For more information, you can head to thehohoshow.com. And for the merchandise store, you can head on over to stinkpickle.com. That is STINKPIKLE.com. Until next time.